deck. So don't worry about that. The next, I would call it the second most popular string method that you'll be using in this class and in future classes where you use Java, or actually multiple programming languages have this same call. You actually used it in Java script last year as well. That's the length call. And the way you call it in Java is you take the name of the string, whatever the name of the string is, whether the name of the string is ABC, first name, last name, or str is kind of a generic, representing the variable name of the string. You add a dot length, open paren, close paren, and it will count the number of letters in the string, and it's not zero based. Talked about confusing, right? Because the substring was zero based. The length actually makes sense. So if I have a string named John, string name gets John, and I create an integer named letters, and I ask for the name John, for the name, what is the length? It will output a traditional, easy to understand 4, integer 4, counting each one, each character. Wow, something in Java that makes sense. Can you believe that? Don't get too used to it. So name is the name of the variable. Dot length is the dot operator we can use to return that result. The next thing I want to talk about, let's do a sample problem. A sample problem would fit in right here really well. So I'm going to do that. I wish I would have had one, but since I don't, I'm going to make one. Okay. Here is my problem. Here's your problem too. Your problem is Rhodey. What I want you to do is look at that string name gets Rhodey and put in the chat window what will be outputted, but don't hit enter. So put into the window what will be outputted, what is the result of running this code to the console, and put in that answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, waterfall. Yes, it is 5 because it is not zero-based index. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the letters of Rhodey, something in Java that actually makes sense. Freaky, right? Good job, folks. Next, in JavaScript, you learned about equals equals. You might have even remembered me talking about equals equals equals. Remember that one equal sign in Java, JavaScript, Python, C, C#, C++, equals is an assignment operator. It means gets. So if I say string name gets Rhodey with an equal sign, that means something different than equals equals. Equals equals is a comparison operator that's saying, does one thing equal another thing? But here is a major bummer. Equals equals only works on primitives. Ints, doubles, booleans, chars, characters. So we've done a lot with ints, we've done a lot with doubles, we've done a lot with a little bit with booleans. Strings are not primitives. Strings are actually objects, immutable objects to be exact. So since strings are objects in Java, equals equals will not work. You have to use dot equals and then put the value you want to compare into parentheses. Now, we haven't gotten to the if statement yet in Java, but since you've done the if statement in JavaScript and it's exactly the same, I feel comfortable sharing this code with you. So if you had an input that was a user guess at a password, for example, and you set that to a string, and you said, does the user guess dot equals some password that's saved somewhere in the system? You could check using the dot equals. The dot equals will return a Boolean result of true or false. If the value is the same, it will return a true. If the value is different in any way, shape, or form, even one character different, even one space different, it will return a false. So, are you ready for confusion? Equals in Java means gets. Equals equals in Java only works for primitives. And dot equals works like equals equals. Huh? Was that entertaining or what? The next method that we're going to experiment is really useful, but you won't have too many problems that use it. But it is a very useful method. It's index, capital O in camel case, of. And the way index, capital O of works is it allows you to get the index of the first occurrence of a specific character. So if I have a string sport, get soccer, and I want to know where E is, I can set up a sport dot index of E. Now, when you count that up in soccer, notice it returns a 4, even though it's the 5th character. Guess why? That's right, the annoying zero-based indexing. So length uses regular human counting, thank goodness. Index of, substring, both use that evil zero-based indexing that causes so many OBOBs, or off by one bugs. So in the next example, like sport, we have soccer, and give me the index of C. What's interesting about that is it returns the instance, the count, the index of the first C. It doesn't return multiple numbers, like it doesn't return 2 and 3. It just returns the first instance of that, which that character set. And the character set of just C starts at position 2. Also notice that you might get a -1, which is a common what we call Sentinel value in Java. That -1 means that there is no I in team. Ever hear that saying before? See, there is no I in team. There might be a me if you mix the characters up, but there is no I. So since there is no I in team, it will return a -1. Also notice that you can do a multiple character ask. Look at this, at the example 4. You can ask for CE, and it will return the location of that first character, the first C of CE. It doesn't return the 3. Oh, sorry, 0, 1, 2. It doesn't return the 2. If we were zero-based indexing, character 0 would be S, character 1 would be O, 0, O, character 2 would be the first C. It returns the 3, character 3, which is the second C, and then that's connected to that CE. Wow, we did a lot of, I don't know why I did the same slide twice. We did a lot of different challenges there. This is a test. Let's look at this is a test. Could I challenge you all to get out your notebook? And could I challenge you to go to Unlucky 13? But if anyone feels unlucky about the number 13, there's actually 14 numbers. And could you number from 0 to 14? And maybe since you've already used this top part, maybe you want to use a different part and just draw a line. But would you mind numbering for this exercise from 0 to 14 and, sorry, 0 to 13. And would you mind writing in, this is a test? Give you a few seconds to get that done. All right, challenge number 1. Hopefully you've had enough time to write that all down. Challenge number 1 is the letter A. So I'm going to ask you to, in the chat, put what that A would get, what that A value would be, but please don't hit enter. What would the value of A be in this? Notice it's a lowercase t. What would be the value of A, the index of the letter T? What would that be? Put it in the chat box, but don't hit enter until 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, return. Love the answers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me explain how you get that answer. And I'm going to turn this off just so I can highlight a little bit. It asks for the index of T. I was kind of thinking a bunch of people would put 0 because see the T at 0? But it's a lowercase t, and I did explicitly say that. I shouldn't have. That kind of gave it away a little bit. But it is a lowercase t. So where is that lowercase t? It's at 10. So the index of the lowercase t is 10. However, if you count the characters, like you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I could see where you get that. But because we use zero-based indexing, the index of the t would be 10. Notice also, it doesn't say anything about this t there. Even though that t exists, it only returns the value of the first t. So just kind of interesting stuff. Let's go and do is. What is the index, or what would be the value returned for is? Is. Go ahead and type that in. And let's waterfall in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is? Got some different answers. Good job, everyone, on doing is. Let me explain how the value of is working. So here is. Oh, was this fun to say? It's almost like I did it on purpose because I like talking in weird ways. Is right here. So what value do you enter? The way it works is it returns the index of the first character, and that's it. It just returns one value. It only accepts an int, and an int of one value. So the correct answer is 5. Even though it's at 5 and 6, even if you were doing a substring command, the substring of that is 5 to 7. I see how people got that answer. I see how people got the 5 and the 6. But the correct answer, whoa, I did this wrong. Oh my gosh. OMG. I can't believe I messed that up. Look at that. Where does is occur first? Oh my land. Did anyone get that right? Yes, Ethan.
I did.
Shout out to David. Shout out to Ethan. Shout out to not Mr. Rhodey. Oh my land. I did not do that on purpose. You might say that, I did that. If I was being evaluated, I, of course, would tell the principal, I did that on purpose to get the attention of my class. No, and now it's on YouTube forever. That was my mistake. Ouch. I missed that first is. The actual answer is 2 and 3 was where it occurs. And we would just return the 2. Now, if I had done it like this, space is, then it would be 4. If I would have done it like is space, it would still be 2 because there's a space here. If I did it like this, it would shift the answer to 4. But no, I didn't do it like that. I did it like that, and that was mean. The answer is 2. The last one, what is the size? Would you please enter into the chat box, but don't hit return. What would we return with in size is the length or test.length. What is that? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, return. Get those answers flying in. Not everyone's being brave. Come on, people, wake up. That's not even close to everyone. I promise not to yell and embarrass people unless they get it right. Then I'll be nice if you're right. But there are some people not participating. Let's go. Get into this. Wake up. I hope that helped. Me screaming at your screens. I used to be able to drop a book in front of you. I don't know. I miss those days. The answer is 14. But why, Mr. Rhodey? There's 13 characters. It is zero-based indexed, and we're counting like humans. And we start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How annoying is that? Index of, substring, both are zero-based indexed. Size, or length, sorry, in some languages it's actually called dot size, but in this language it's called dot length, open paren, close paren. That is 14. So good job. I totally get some of the other answers though. It's just that going back and forth. What is kind of cool though is on the APCSA exam, they give you this sheet, and you notice that this sheet does kind of remind you of like how it works. So this returns the number of characters, so you know you're counting. This uses the word index, which might help you, and this -1 might help you remember that as well. So just kind of keep those things in mind. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Just want to let you know that this, I just introduced you to a bunch of methods that are really cool to use. And what's really cool, it's kind of like teaching you how the different chess pieces move. This is how a pawn moves. This is how a rook moves. This is how a knight moves. Where it becomes really powerful is when you combine those methods together. And you can do some really cool stuff when you combine them together, which is what we're going to do eventually. But first, I just have a kind of a neat activity where we can, I don't know, practice using these methods. And I just want to show you what this looks like and what might be the best way to spend a couple minutes here reviewing. Is you have questions, just helping you with these string operations, which are just, you just kind of have to memorize and practice them. And I'm hoping this helps you a little bit. But when you get to this link, if you haven't clicked on it yet, I can put it in the chat window. That might be the easiest way to get it to y'all. And if you click on this Learn tab, it kind of teaches you at your pace, and it gives you answers. So write the code that would compare lexigraphically string 1 with string 2 and a variable name result. So compare to string 1, compare to string 2. Well, that's kind of easy. But then as you get better at it, it starts to have you type code, which will be very, very helpful in just helping you become familiar with this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to set a timer for 5 minutes. If you're really good at this, by the way, there are some games with some high scores that you can compete with. And you might want to copy and paste some answers into your clipboard, like the long ones, to win these games. There's all kinds of clever ways to mess with that. But I'm just going to set a timer for 5 minutes. And I'm going to ask that for 5 minutes, you just practice your string methods. There's my 5-minute timer. And I'm just going to ask that for 5 minutes you practice this. I'm going to stop presenting to save bandwidth and mute to save bandwidth. Okay, 5 minutes is up. Thank you all for working. I noticed I was watching you via GoGuardian, and I only had to bug some of you to like actually work on it. Some of you I couldn't see via GoGuardian. I assume you have multiple computers or whatever. You might want to bookmark that if you're struggling with the commands in learning these commands. Normally, when we're in class and in person, we definitely have more time to mess with these commands and practice these commands. But what I do want to give you is your assignment, and now even give you a little bit of time to work on the assignment that is coming up. So the challenges you have, I'm going to share with you, and I've shared one on Replit. I've got 2 more to post, but I'll get those posted as soon as we break here. But I'm going to show your assignment and go over it. Oops. And then give you some time to work on it. Just as a friendly reminder, due Friday is this topics 2.6 and 2.7. Feel free to hit done when you are done, and then then you'll be set. I'm going to grade it based on whether you did all 6. Remember, you get 1 free one that you don't have to do, and you can still be proficient. If you want to get that advanced, you have to do all 6 of them and complete 1 advanced challenge. If you complete at least 3, you'll be developing. So this is kind of like thinking D, B, or D, C, B, A. And an A is very hard to get in this class, so don't feel bad. If you're going to just shoot for the B, that's absolutely okay. I challenge you to shoot for the A, but I totally get it if that's not where you're going. So let's go over the 3 challenges that you have today. The first one is just kind of trying all the different methods out. It's going to, oops, I lost the tab for it. 1 second. My bad. The tab, this compare strings here is just this this project. Oops. Oh, David, good job. This asks you to just compare 2 string, find the size of the string, and see if they're the same, and see how they compare lexicographically. When you just run the code before you finish it, this is the default code you start with. There isn't much there. You have to write, you get to type string 1, oops, sorry, string 2, and then it returns all zeros at first and a true at first. So what you have to do is you have to write the code that calculates the string size, the length of the string, for the string called string 1 and string 2. And you have to figure out how to write that code. You also have to figure out how to write the code for the equals. So you're going to be comparing them. I just set it by default to true. You have to figure out that code. And then there's that compare to operator that you have to figure out and use. And then this just returns the results as long as you keep these variable names the same. And you should be able to get the results as you see in these sample results. So here's what you're expecting to get. If you entered computer science, you should get an 8, a 7, a false, and a -16. So that's what it's asking you to do for the compare strings project. The next one is called breaking up is hard to do, ha ha ha. And what you're going to do, this is kind of a fun one. This is where you're going to replace a character this is where you're going to break up a string based on a character. So you're going to take a string you enter. It's going to give you a string, or you're going to enter a string, and then it's going to break it up after a specific letter into 2 substrings, a before the letter and an after the letter. And it's just kind of cool. So I'm going to enter, oops. And your goal would be to have it, ooh, that looked bad. It's going to be to have, you would have an H in the before and an ELLO in the after. And then when you merge them, it would say H star ELLO. So it's kind of a cool mixture. You're using that index of, and then you're using the substring. So you find that index, which it kind of gives you, tells you how to do that, or you have to remember how to do it, but this is where you do it. So the letter E is at what index, and then you make a string before, so you have to use that substring, user input dot substring, but use this E at to help you. And then you do a string after. And again, you have to use that E at command. And then your goal is to print the before, the after, and then add in that asterisk, kind of like leading you to elite spelling. And then the final challenge, the last challenge of the day is really, really challenging. And that's to use elite spelling for a string. So you're going to take every time there, or the first time, sorry, only the first A, you're going to replace it with the at symbol. And then which is very similar to this challenge. It's just taking it up a level. And then the advanced challenge is to also, you can do this challenge where you also replace the first O. So you still replace the first E, then you replace the first O with a open paren, close paren, again, another form of elite spelling. And then the last challenge, hard, is to move that into a method. It would be a string method that returns elite spelling. Talk about challenging problems. If you are a typical me or AP student, when you first hear those challenges, you think there's no way I can do it. That's impossible. I don't even know where to begin. And I beg you to, when you face problems like this, begin by just doing simple things, running the code, see what happens. Tinker with a few things, pretend it's Scratch, and just tinker with a few things. If you break it, you can always reload the default code because I give it to you in the README. You can also email me if you want, and I'll be glad to send it to you. So these problems, I agree, are challenging and hard. And you got to break these big problems into little problems and solve them. The challenge is real. The struggle is real. You do have till Friday to do this, but it might be best to do it while it's fresh in your head. If you get stuck, go back to the slide decks and review those commands. Go back to the YouTube videos and review those commands. Google it and review those Googles. Go to other websites and get hints and clues. All of that is legit. All of that is what real programmers do, and you are now a real programmer. These are challenging problems. And I urge you to give it your attention, your focus, and try. Try early. When you get frustrated, leave it and come back to it later. I beg you to give this your full attention and really, really try hard, because these are not easy. So if these are super easy for you, congratulations, you're one of the few. These problems are designed to be hard and make you think, but once you solve them, you will feel like such a rock star. So I'm going to give you the last 15 minutes of class here to just work on these projects. I am available via GoGuardian chat. I'll also stay in this channel if you want to ask me any questions, so that you can have the bandwidth